Who is the best key forward in this year's draft? G'day, it's Jordan Keneal here with another scouting report, and today we're going to have a look at the tall timber in this year's crop. We have to start with Vic Metro's Matthew Jefferson, who kicked 7 goals against Western Australia on Saturday. We've seen some incredible flashes from Jefferson throughout this year, but it was the first time we'd seen him put every single piece together. He's got a bit of Sydney's Sam Reid about his game. He's lean and mobile, but he's just a one-touch player in the air. Probably the most striking similarity between the two is how much air they can get when they jump straight up. They don't need to run up and they just pluck the ball out of the sky. I was blown away with Jefferson earlier in the year against the Eastern Rangers. He was unstoppable both on the lead and in packs. But he finished the day with 0 goals and 6 behinds to his name. Let's take a look at his set shot action here. Kicking coaches will obviously know more than me here, but there's no massive red flags that I can see in his technique. His ball drop looks low enough, he doesn't sway too much on the approach, doesn't have any stutters or anything like that. But he just kept missing to the left against Eastern. As a right footer, he generally gets a little bit of draw or right to left movement. So there were some moments when he just took a couple of steps out to the right late in his approach. Maybe it was to get some extra distance, maybe he leaned back a little bit on the shot, which might have added to that right to left movement. At the end of the game, you could see he was so frustrated with it that he just chose to wheel around for a snap in a spot that he'd normally kick a drop punt from. That one missed too. So it was brilliant to see Jefferson kick straight against Western Australia. His set shot action hasn't changed at all either, so whatever minor tweaks he's made have clearly helped. His marking was outstanding as per usual. Honestly, he's an absolute highlight machine in the air. He kicked 5 of his 7 goals in the third quarter against WA, and most of the time he was matched up against Hugh Davies. I would have loved to have seen him go toe-to-toe with Jedd Busslinger as well. The next Victorian prospect we'll look at is Cadman. He's brilliant when it comes to contested marking, and he's so strong in the pack. He's shown he can be lethal at stoppages too. Take a look at this Tom Hawkins-like goal from the ruck. He's got plenty of speed on the lead, and similar to Jefferson, he just rarely drops marks. He's had a couple of inaccurate games this year, but overall he sits at 18 goals and 13 behinds in the NAB League. His short-range set shots are a nice, smooth action. When he goes for those long kicks outside 50 though, he adds a little skip to his routine. The results are mixed, but overall I think the set shots are pretty good. We took a look at South Australian prospects Lemmey and Tom Scully earlier this year. Both have got runs on the board, but we're yet to see them impact the national championships too much, so we'll check back on them later on in the year. Let's switch over to a few players that caught the eye from Western Australia. Hewett is the best midfielder in the WA crop, and we've seen what a ferocious tackler he has been at the senior level in the waffle. It was pleasing to see not only how easily he could find the ball against players his own age, but just how creative and damaging he could be with the ball in hand. Recruiters will surely have the moment he just switched gears and turned it on for this beautiful pass, just burned into their memory. He weighted the ball really well and was damaging for long stretches against Vic Metro. He finished the day with a classy goal too. Harry Cole had an electric second quarter where he kicked 2 goals and 3 behinds. A couple of his marks inside 50 were a case of right place, right time, but as the quarter went on you could see his confidence building, to the point where he took this absolute beauty. There's not a heap of tall defenders that have a lot of runs on the board at this stage of the year, but Jedd Busslinger is probably the most accomplished in that group. His number one skill is clearly his intercept marking. He's brave and he reads the ball really well. You can trust him to zone off his man and it won't come back to bite you. But for me, the thing that separates him from everyone else is his distribution by foot. He's not just taking the safe option, he can slice the game open when he wants. He reminds me a little bit of Heath Chapman in that he's genuinely sprinting to make himself an option around the ground and get involved in play further up the field. And lastly, we'll end with this guy. I know we've talked about him plenty already, but Vic Metro's Sheezel is looking more and more like a top 3 prospect every week. His start against Western Australia was electric. This mark was absolutely unbelievable. Sheezel is so evasive and clean on the inside too. Just look at this passage with his hands. We know how damaging he is as a goal kicker, and this one was elite too. Alright, I've got something special for you guys next week, so keep your eyes peeled for another scouting report.